Welcome to KapsOff episode 5. KapsOff team just want to take a moment to say our duty is to elevate all people from all backgrounds, regardless of your colour and creed. We want to share and spread awareness on all topics and subjects, hoping that it reaches and touches the hearts and minds and spirits of all of our viewers. We believe in positive energy and speaking out and manifestation. So with that said, we just want to introduce, first and foremost, I just want to introduce my fellow host.
Hello everyone.
What's your name?
You forget my name. We've done 5 of these already, come on. I'm sure I don't need to say my name by now.
That's true. But yes, today we have some special guests, a family who, they've adopted veganism, homeschooling, home birthing, but we're going to touch on all subjects during the full hour episode. So I just want to say hello and welcome Mark.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
Simone.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for having us.
Yes,
Thank
no
you.
problem. Thank you for being here. Both of
Pleasure.
you. And bringing your family as well. Beautiful family.
Beautiful family.
What's your name?
Tura.
Terrell. Nice to meet you. What's your name?
This one is Hezekiah.
Hey, hello,
He's
Hezekiah.
8 months.
What's your name over here?
Rocks.
Nice smile.
See, I like your brand you got around your head. I do like that, that's cute, that is. What's your name?
No.
No.
That's a beautiful name. And what's your name?
Kenzie.
And I'm sure it was your birthday the other day, wasn't it, Kenzie?
No.
No, was it your birthday?
No, it wasn't the other day.
What day was it? What day then?
Can't remember. 26th of April.
Oh,
It's
so
your
that was
26th
recent then?
birthday.
You said not yesterday.
Oh, yeah, yesterday.
How old was you on your birthday?
5.
Big boy now. Very good. So your birthday is one day after my birthday. My birthday is the 25th of April. Yours is the 26th of April. So we're both Tauruses.
I like how you just went,
So, just want a little bit of background first and foremost from yourself, Simone, and Mark, like whoever wants to sort of jump in first and explain, how you sort of raise your kids.
And
Yeah, well, we homeschool.
Yeah.
We're a vegan family. We just believe in the attitude of gratitude and being thankful. We teach our kids to be thankful and to appreciate life. There's lots of things. There's so many elements that come into it. The basis is respecting life, respecting each other, respecting the planet, and in turn creating a loving family.
So what made you actually go into like homeschooling and then vegan food? What made you go into it?
What do you think?
Well, it was Mark. When I met Mark, he was already a vegan, and we were already moving towards that way once we met each other. Because I've always been a food snob, to be honest. So I could feel myself moving that way. But Mark was already a vegan probably about 7-8 years when we met, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So and one of the first conversations we had was about homeschooling our children.
Yeah. It was always something, when I met someone, I was thinking, I want to raise my kids properly.
Yeah.
And I want someone who lives naturally, who believes in natural living. And on the first date, what was that? I said, can I keep you on our first date? Because when you realize, that you met, like, okay, this is it. This is what I was looking for, you know what I mean? And that's what it was like. So it was just an instant moment like that.
And how did you react to that then, Simone?
I said yes.
So
Yes, you can. Yeah.
So in essence, I think spiritually, you can get married early. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Obviously the physical process,
that's different.
that's different.
Yeah.
But that's a process that you've got to see out. But you can spiritually marry each other when you connect and you got things in common. But then the process of working that out then is a process. Then that's love, that's commitment, that's like being dedicated to each other. And then, you know, Roxy came along, and that solidified everything. You know, as soon as you have a baby, it's like, yeah. So from that point, Roxy is the magic that happened, really. And you know, from then on, it was just, it was tough. You know, there was tough moments, wasn't there?
Definitely.
Like, but you get through that, and you show commitment, like I say, to each other, love to each other, dedication, and you know that you've got that connection, and that's enough to see you through. You know, if you've got the right mindset, you know, and that's how it started. And then it's a process of evolving then, because obviously the vegan lifestyle for me was like, it opens your mind consciously to a lot of things. And I think homeschooling was one of those things that definitely I was up for, because I realized that the education that the world gives you about food isn't necessarily correct. So why am I going to trust the school to do that for my kids? You know, what else are they not telling my kids? And, you know, so you got to have a balance. Obviously, you don't hate the system, but you know, you've got healthy questions, and I always had healthy questions. And homeschooling was just one of those things that just fit us. You know what I mean? And when we had Roxy and she got to that age where it was like, okay, we're going to send her to school, it was like, well, why? Because there's so many options out there, and I think the internet has opened up the world for everyone.
Absolutely.
And I saw a lot of people online that were homeschooling their kids, and I was seeing it work for them, so I thought, well, why not? Why can't we give it a go? And Simone was up for that, and the rest is history.
So you've always been a vegan then?
For about, for about 11 years, I think I've been vegan now.
So was that sort of
12
turning
years.
point for you to make you think, you know what, I'm not going to sort of, you know, stop eating meat, I'm going full vegan?
I think just some of the foods I ate, like milk and bread, didn't have a good effect on me. And I realised that, and I realised I had to do something about it. And I think through the internet again, opening up lots of portholes to different people's lives, I saw this thing called veganism. Never even heard of it before. And it was just something that appealed to me, and I just thought, wow, that's right, because there are certain foods that I eat that I don't seem right for my body, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, you know, you realise that, and you're like, okay, so maybe this is the way. So you try it, and I'm the sort of person to dive in, you know what I mean? And I dived in, and I never looked back after that. You know, it was like, wow, it just felt so good, and I felt so fit, I felt so healthy. For the first 3 months, you do crave meat, you do crave the stuff that you used to have. But after that, it was just like, yeah, this is right. This is the way I'm supposed to be. And I changed as a person. I think if you can respect animal life, you most definitely can respect human life. I find it's not always 100% the case, but I find generally that's what happens. I think generally, if you learn to respect all life, then you will be able to respect a family, raise a family. Because I find, I don't know about anyone else, but it's such a daunting thing, raising a family. You see so many families fail, and that used to go through my mind all the time. And I used to think, how do you do this? Like, how do you become the person that is able to raise a family? Yeah. And I was constantly in that process of refining myself to that point. And I think veganism was that tipping point for me that just changed things, and I just felt like, okay, I'm in a different space. You know, I feel different, I feel good about myself, I feel more confident, I feel more, I just felt better about myself.
So when you actually first went into it then, how was people around you then? Did they treat you differently? Or?
Yeah, I mean, people are very skeptical. extremely. Like, people laughing at me. People didn't even. When I turned vegan, no one knew what that was. You know what I mean? Like, you was like, what is that? You have to explain it everywhere you go. And it's so funny to come full circle now, like 7, 8 years after that had happened, and to see the world just totally change. It's like crazy. It's like, what? Oh.
So the first time I heard it, it was like, what's that about? It's like, is it a new food or something? I
Yeah,
thought it was something like that.
But we grew up with it because it's an ITIL diet in the cultures that we grew up around. So it was almost like I was used to it, but it never had the name vegan. It was just ITIL diet. Yeah. So that kind of food was introduced to us at an early age, and then we would have that sometimes in the week. Go and visit friends and family and eat ITIL food as well. So I mean, it was just kind of marrying it with the taste, flavours, and just been experimenting really, and different tastes and flavours now. I mean, even the children are cooking now, you know, and experimenting, And I think it's opened up a new sense of taste for myself. Definitely opened up a new sense of taste and texture.
But is there different levels to veganism? Because obviously you would have veganisms that don't eat milk, don't drink milk, that don't eat any sort of dairy products, nothing like that. But then you've got another level where they do that level, but they won't wear leather or any sort of clothing that's come from an animal.
Yeah.
So what sort of level are you guys at when it comes to veganism?
Well, I'd say that we're very conscious of it, definitely, and we tend to read labels more now, don't we, and clothing and stuff like that. And we have noticed that a lot of shops, especially M&S, have got vegan range in shoes and
I didn't know that.
jackets and things like that. So we're a lot more conscious about it because that's something we didn't realise in the beginning, did we? So just more conscious about it now and making sure we check things and.
Yeah, I think as you go, you grow more conscious. Like at first, it was purely about diet and feeling good. But then it became, okay, what about the animals? Okay, what about the environment? Okay, what about the clothes we wear? And it's a process of developing and refining. And yes, I wouldn't say we're activist type. I think we just believe in good living, healthy living, and looking after the environment. I think that's the main thing. But a lot of things that vegans say make sense. It does. Really does.
Do you believe that, obviously the human body is not designed to eat, say, another animal. We're not designed to drink another mammal's milk. Stuff like that as well. So that all comes into play.
Well, I think we're the only species, aren't we, that drink another animal's milk.
Which is true.
We're the only ones that do that.
That's true.
And then we do it into adulthood. You know what I mean? Which is deep. So there's lots of things to consider with that. How does that affect us mentally? Are we does that affect our growth as humans? I think humans evolve. Humans have the ability to evolve to eat meat, as we've proven. But is it the best version of ourselves is what we need to ask, I think. I think that's a big question.
So when you actually, with the children now, so when you actually first, got them involved with cooking and how was they with it? Did they want to get involved, or was they like, let's leave it with you? How were they?
Well, it's part of our lifestyle, isn't it? Because the way that we home educate is a lifestyle of education. So, for instance, if we go shopping and there's a budget, Terrell will probably do a shopping list, or Roxy will write a shopping list. There's your English, they'll calculate the budget. There's your maths, come back and cook it. That's your science and home economics, and we do all sorts, to be honest, and balancing those meals out as well, making sure that there's enough greens, because we've recently started making sure that our plate's like 50% greens, haven't we? So that we're getting enough of the greens in within our diet, and then just making it tasty as well. So it's just all a lifestyle really, rather than, we think in the school system there's too much separation with education and life. And then we're not really aware of how to apply it to our life. and that's why we tend to say things like school's a waste of time, but in some cases it wasn't, we didn't know how to apply it. And yeah, I guess those life lessons are what we're trying to bridge that gap with their education, and make sure that they can make full use of their core subjects or academic subjects. And like I said, they're still quite young, so I think play is underrated. Play is definitely underrated, and that is how they learn so much at this young age, is through play, through being outdoors. The outdoor classroom is amazing, it shows them everything they need to know. And we do lots of, this year we're really homing in on our plants and flowers now, so from seeds, they're growing food. What's some of the food that you're growing? Butternut squash. Can you remember one that you're growing?
I
You got to remember. I thought you were going to say one then. What about you, Kenzie?
Broccoli as well.
Broccoli.
Parsnip.
Parsnip. Do you remember any, Tara?
Onions.
Onions. Hezekiah, do you remember any? Sage. Yeah. Getting all the fruits, herbs and vegetables in this year as well. So becoming more conscious of them also realising that they have to nurture that, and they have to make sure that it's watered every day. So they have plant service early in the morning where they all come downstairs, and before breakfast they will nurture the plants and seeds. And yeah, the lifestyle is where it's at. And
so what's a typical breakfast then?
Typical breakfast. I mean, we do very often intermittent fasting, where we don't eat for the first part of the morning. We just drink. We drink apple cider vinegar water, we drink lemon water, we drink straight water, and we make sure that the first part is mainly fruits or vegetables, and then afterwards we go in with main meals and stuff. So we tend to eat our main meal between 12 and 3, and then between 5 and 6 they have their evening snack, and that has helped with nighttime training and being able to sleep better and stuff like that. So typical breakfast will probably, if we have cereal, we get like a proper nutty type cereal, mueslis and that kind of thing. We have it with yogurt, or they'll have it with almond milk or something. What other things you like for breakfast?
Beans on toast.
Beans on toast, like a bit of beans on toast. They love cooked breakfast, so when they see that I'm making cooked breakfast, like, Mum's making a cooked breakfast. So that's when I go in, if we've had an intermittent fast morning, then towards the afternoon I'll go in on the cooked breakfast.
So how do you, like because kids these days, they love their pizzas and things. Do you make your own pizzas and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, we're not totally strict to the point where we don't have any fast food. We will, but it's more like a high-end oven fast food type. So like, I'll go to M&S, my favourite shop that's mentioned twice. Give me an advert. We want the advert. We want to be maybe we'll get the Christmas advert. So I keep emailing them. I'm like, are you ready for us yet? Because we're ready. But so we do have like their plant kitchen range, and we'll try things, but on the basis, the everyday is the beans, peas, lentils, brown rice, veg, raw salads, things like that to go with our meals. But yes, if we say we fancy like making a few pizzas, we'll cook them ourselves, won't we? Make the dough and everything. Yeah?
Vaccinated? Have you vaccinated your kids?
No.
No vaccinated?
All of them. We're quite selective.
Vitamin B12?
I didn't know there was a vaccination for that actually, is there?
Yeah.
Okay.
You get vitamin B12 and that.
Okay. We do I've taken supplements in the past, but to be honest, I feel that if you eat a balanced diet as a vegan, I think you'll be fine.
Because you're getting all that.
Because I think you get B12 in so many different things. There's so many greens that have B12 in. I think the supplements are there for those vegans that are maybe not as responsible, and maybe eating a lot of takeaway, a lot of processed foods, which we all get into from time to time. But we try and keep our diet quite natural, full of greens. So we'll see in the future. Maybe there might be some need for it, but at the moment, I think we're fine. To be honest.
We call them it's packet veganism as well, isn't it? If it says it on the packet, but we need to remember that veganism is fruit, it's veg, it's, you know, the peas, pulses, the beans, it's, you know, the rice.
Definitely.
And forgetting that it doesn't need to say vegan on the pack for it to be vegan, you know, it doesn't have to be.
Of course.
So yeah, the packet vegan culture is a bit scary, to be honest, as you don't actually know what's in these beyond meats and things like that, which we don't really mess with, to be honest.
So that's why it's
Every
good
so
to grow
often,
your own food, isn't it?
yeah. I
And
mean,
you know
every so
what's in it.
often you will have something, but like I always say to my, I don't like those burgers that I feel that taste and resemble meat. I don't like them. They make me feel really weird and funny, and I'm just hoping that in the years to come there isn't some research that comes out that says they find things in them. But
Yeah, like the horse, they have the horse meat. Yeah.
exactly. So we tend to, if we're having burgers, we stick to things, and we're buying them, we stick to things like that are chickpea burgers with sweet potato in, and you can actually see it, and you can actually see the veg, you know.
Because what I was going to ask you as well, because there was something that I looked up, and you fed your family on £25. Was that for the whole week? Or was it the whole?
People always get shocked at that, and then I think,
Yeah.
what's everyone doing? Like, especially vegan families,
Yeah.
because when we put it on Vegan Family UK, Vegan UK, and Birmingham Vegans, they were like, right, so what do you buy, where do you go? And I was thinking, wow. So a lot of people shop in like Sainsbury's and, you know, other shops and just keep it quite, I don't know, packet vegan, I would say.
Yeah.
But when you mix that with what we have as Caribbean, African and Asian shops, you can supply yourself for months on that food, honestly.
£25 a week.
Yeah, you can do it. You can do it. We don't always do it. I didn't say we do it every week, and sometimes it's less. Just depends on what we're getting and what needs topping up. But we do have a monthly shop as well, but it doesn't end up being a monthly shop sometimes. Sometimes it's like every 6 to 8 weeks, and we just get the 1 kilogram big bags of all the pulses. So if you look at our channel, Thankfully True, you will see how I process that and batch and soak and prepare and put in the freezer and then defrost and flavour and serve type thing. Yeah, so that was quite a headline, to be honest, wasn't it?
Yeah, we got into the Sun. No, the Mirror.
And we were in the Sun as well.
Oh, the Sun as well, wasn't it? Yeah.
Metro, Daily Mail. Yeah, they all seem to be quite shocked, and you know, then the videos obviously following that did quite well as well, because they realised that okay, so they actually can do it. Yeah, I guess as well, sometimes we kind of over intake certain parts of, like, okay, say if you've got a child that particularly loves apples all the time, and all you do is give them a whole apple all the time and they eat half and throw it down and all that, whereas we tend to chop up the fruit and share it out as a fruit platter, and that helps it stretch as well. Because a pack of 6 apples in our house is like 20 minutes. So
it is.
It's like literally
everyone
20
gets one
everyone
and it's
gets
done.
One, it's done. Put them in the fruit bowl, and if everyone had one, that's it.
That's
Fruit
it.
bowl's done again. So it's like you have to get smart with it.
I just want to change it up a little bit. So that the home birth.
Yes.
you had, what made you decide to actually record it and just broadcast it to everybody? Because that is so personal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what gave you that sort of
We have
I'm going to do that?
We have a YouTube channel anyway.
Yeah.
But
It
we
sort of follows
saw.
your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we just share our life. I mean, we've seen lots of videos that show home births anyway online. Much more graphic than ours, by the way. And I was insisting. I was like, "Love, look, we need to keep certain things locked off." You know what I mean? But I think the way it came out was it was graceful. It was natural. There wasn't too much showing. It was just the process that we went through. It was just raw, real.
Yeah.
And it flowed really well that day, didn't it? It flowed so well.
I mean, we always wanted to capture it. We always wanted to capture a home birth, but at the same time, it was going to be done in a tasteful manner, and also one that we could help educate other people and understand that, you know, your birth choices are your right, and as a family you should set your birth choices and your pregnancy choices that suit you as a family, instead of being just driven by a system of errors, basically, and of scaremongering. And when, you know, when we decided we were going to do it, when we decided we were going to have a home birth, we knew we were having a home birth. So it was like, why not capture it? Why not show that to other families that it is possible? And even if you have other children, it's possible. Even if you're told, oh, you're high risk, it's possible, you know. And that's what we wanted to do.
Because I haven't seen it yet.
Have you not? Well, it's family friendly. It is family friendly. Yeah, definitely. Every time we post it, we always put it's family friendly, because when you know, me telling Mark, sit down, look, watch his home birth. It's like, oh, okay. You know, you just don't know what to expect.
And were the kids around as well?
Yes, they were. I mean, they were watching Chitty Chitty Bang Bang when they're in the kitchen, and then when he was just about to come out, then they came in. They're like, wow, he's here.
I know.
It was so lovely.
And that was with the little man.
Yeah, that's it. Look at him. Yeah, that's me. That's me.
That was this one.
Yeah.
Lion King here. Leo.
It was lovely. It was really nice, and I think so many people learned from that, and the amount of messages that we got about people moving towards having home births, realizing that you know, it's their choice, and also we feel it's the best way to give birth within a family, and it just made sense for us as well. Especially
in a pandemic, you know, in a time where if you go into hospital, you're not sure if you can even be with each other. You're not even sure if you're going to be present. You know, it was so relevant for that moment. I mean, Niall was a home birth as well. We do have a video, although not as detailed, nowhere near as detailed as this one, but he does have a video as well of his home birth. And we tried for Kenzie, we did try, but we got kind of scaremongered, we felt, towards the end, and we ended up having him in the hospital, which was a beautiful moment. It was amazing. But we decided we weren't going to let that happen. We were going to make sure, you know, no matter what anyone says. They were trying to tell us that Kenzie was small, that he wasn't big enough. He came out the biggest baby that we had.
Big.
You know what I mean? So we just decided that these guys don't really know what they're saying, you know.
It's like, oh, but there's always a 5% room for us. So, yeah, okay. You sort of had enough of us in here. As we said, though, we've had beautiful births in hospital. Roxy was a delivery suite. Nice. Terrell was a birth centre. Kenzie was an induction ward, and they were all beautiful births because we went into our own, you know, we made it what we wanted it to be, and it wasn't about anyone else. Shut the curtains. Never mind Sally out there. It's fine. That's right. We're all right in here.
How do you cope with, because obviously you homeschool all of your kids.
Yeah.
I know that must be difficult.
Parenting is, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. But like, you know, with my kids, okay, you guys go to school.
Yeah.
I've got a bit of free time.
Yeah.
But then having them 24/7, and homeschooling them on top of that as well.
But remember, we've got an elder daughter who's 20 this year, and honestly, like, the most stressful time is when they're in school. The stress that comes with school is just, we couldn't imagine going through that again. And she had a relatively good time. So I can't imagine those that have had quite, you know, troubling school lives. I mean, we don't know life without them being with us, if you get what I mean. So it's like, it's hard to compare it, although we couldn't imagine taking them into an institution and waving. Like, it just doesn't enter the mind.
Doesn't seem natural now.
And I think, like I said, we go back to lifestyle as well. I mean, we've done the school run days, and you do literally get 3 hours really, don't you? Either side of the 9 o'clock, you get literally like 3 hours, and that is to do things. It's not necessarily to just be.
Depending on what age they are.
Exactly.
So it's very difficult.
Yeah, I think
This guy wants to say something.
I
He's
know.
like,
It's like,
will you let me speak?
turn the mic up.
Go
I
on.
think, you know, like with, especially with, because you're homeschooling the kids, like, you know, the socials,
Yeah.
sort of interacting with other children and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is that not something which you fear? If they're not coming from, you know, if they don't have a lot of cousins that they interact with as well, if it's just their brothers and sisters, mum and dad, and that's it. You know, as they're growing up, when they get to a certain age, you not fear that, you know, that sort of interaction with other kids is going to be tarnished a bit.
I do feel that homeschooling has changed a lot over the years. I mean, in the past, yes, maybe that would have been an issue. But now there's such a network of homeschoolers that all help each other and meet regularly. I mean, they have so many friends that are homeschoolers that we have a Facebook group and there's so many activities. Yeah.
Internet helps with that, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. So I don't think it's a big issue as much as it probably would have been a while ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I think as well it's the myth. It's the myths, isn't it, that follow home educated children think that they're not as socialised. But I mean, when else in life do you socialise with people of your own age only? Your own age. I mean, it's not really a natural. I wouldn't say it's not natural, but I mean, it's not really a natural thing in life, is it? I mean, if you go to work, you've got 70-year-old Brenda, you've got 20-year-old Mark, you know what I mean? You know, there's everyone's at different age groups, so it's nice that they can interact with adults and children of their own age and not as well. These like sometimes sit on the bus and have conversations with pensioners. Full-blown conversations, you know, helping them with their bags and things like that, and that's what we want. It's a nice representation of life and the real world, you know, rather than within a building. Like, you can only talk to people that are your age, and you only sit next to people that are your age.
Yeah, so it opens their mind more then, doesn't it?
Really does. It really does. And I think that we're moving towards more of travelling now with them as well, so that we can world school and they can learn about other people, different cultures. Yeah.
So who does the filming for you? Who does your photographs and filming?
That's me.
Yes.
Oh, it's you.
I heard you're a photographer.
Yeah, so I'm a videographer and a photographer.
Okay.
That's my business. That's what I do for a living.
To mention your business.
The website is mrrobertsphotography.co.uk. Instagram is Mr. Roberts Photography. And Facebook is Legacy Media at the moment. I'm trying to change it to Mr. Roberts Photography as well. But yeah, I've been doing it for 10 years. And professionally though, I've been doing it sort of like 7 years, more like the 7-year mark. And I love what I do. I do weddings. Recently started doing music videos. But I do professional photo shoots, family shoots. Lots really. Some people would say I'm a bit crazy doing weddings.
Why is that?
But because people say it's headache, isn't it? You know, and it can be.
Oh, the dreaded
the day, it's very hectic. It's a very intense day being a wedding photographer.
You've got to get it bang on.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure as well. Organising groups at weddings, you know, trying to get everyone, please, you know, it's good, to be honest, it's good, like, assertive skills that you learn, it's assertion skills, should I say, when you learn to be a wedding photographer, because, you know, there's always those ones that just don't want to listen, you know, you're saying, look, move that way, and they're just chatting away, you know, excuse me, sir, can you move, you know, it's like, oh. But you gotta say it without being rude. But obviously, you know, in a nice way. But obviously, like, look, you need to move. You need to, you know. So yeah, that's what I do.
And I love going along as well.
Yes.
I love going along to the weddings. I help out. I carry the memory cards. I'll change the batteries, do things like that, and then get on the dance floor with the family.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just like
It's a family business.
It is, yeah.
And that's part of my whole vision for our family as well. I always had a vision of a family that worked together as a business. That was one of the visions I had before I even met Simone, was that you work within the family, like a lot of Asian communities do. You know, you work within the family. And we have a YouTube channel, we have photography, we have videography. And what else, Hezekiah? Am I forgetting something? Where can we find you? On Instagram. At Hezekiah. No. As a family that we'd work together and be a family, and sort of that was how we made money. We moved like that, and that's the vision.
Together.
Yeah.
We have photographers here, videographers. They're very good with the camera.
Good with the camera.
We just got a new camera today as well.
Yeah, we just popped in CEX, my favourite store. I can't. As soon as I see CEX, that's it. It's like, I don't know what it's like. It's like a magnet. It's like got to go in. Got to go in.
So I was actually good at editing as well. Roxy, they do their own editing too. What do you use to edit to it? InShot. And he has these ideas where, okay, so I'll play the piano, because that's another area of home ed as well, home education, that we push the music to learning instruments. Quentin just got a violin for his birthday, so we're hoping to...
Who's the piano player?
All of them, really.
Yeah, I seen him on the piano earlier.
Yeah, he's really good. He's quite good at picking things up. Yeah, you play. By the end of the day, he plays a tune. He's got the main part of it at least.
So does this run through the family, of anyone's family, the music side?
Yeah, well we have Mark's obviously musical as well, and I am as well, and then our families are also quite musical. I think your dad and
yes, my dad had a trumpet.
Yeah, and my mum as well, and my dad, my brothers, you know, they're very musically orientated as well, so it's kind of just run through, isn't it?
Yeah, I do music too. That's Mark Roberts' music.
Promote that, Mark, promote it.
Sorry. You gotta do it, you gotta do it.
So you know, with the homeschooling, you teach your kids like other cultures as well.
Yeah, I mean, as we go on, and more naturally as well. I mean, obviously with the pandemic, and not to put too much on that, but it does kind of hinder the, you know, your kind of routes that you were going to take. We're going to mosques and things, and temples, be nice synagogues, you know. But more so, going to the countries is best suited for us. It's going to the countries. We can go to temple, synagogue, mosque, but it's all embedded in British culture anyway, isn't it? So. Yeah, it's better to go to the countries, to be honest. I mean, we do have different books on different cultures, and they explore different languages. So we have playlists on YouTube where we'll put together like language playlists. So one of the main languages that they're learning is Swahili. That's because we've got family in Uganda as well. They're also learning Chinese, Spanish. No, just planting the seed basically and nurturing it, and that's what naturally we do. They don't have to sit there, listen to this language, repeat after me. It's just put on whilst they're playing, and they can just hear it. And when you ask them a question now, they're like, "Oh yeah, I know that." It just naturally goes in. Yeah.
What if one of your kids says, "Mom, Dad, I've had enough of veganism. I want to go and eat meat. I've had enough of it." How would you?
At least they've had that experience, and you know they understand what it's like, and they've experienced that lifestyle, and that was the goal, to give them that lifestyle, and then they can take it wherever they want to take it. I was never when we met, she wasn't a vegan, you know what I mean. So I wasn't, and I didn't preach to anyone, I just lived my life and let people follow if they want to, but it's definitely not, it doesn't mean that I'm perfect because I'm vegan, or, that everyone should do what I'm doing necessarily, but I'm just trying to do the best I can. And if other people get inspired, then great,
So cooking meals then, so like when you first both got together and like you invited each other around for dinner, how did that work? Because it must have you cooking 2 different pots, wasn't you?
I just used to slap what Mark had on top of mine. I did this for like half a bit of that. Yeah, I just used to slap that right on. Then after a while it was like, why am I even having the meat? Why I'm not enjoying it? Like I said,
but I mean, there was a time where we lived together as well. As vegan and non-vegan. So there was 2 different meals being made for a long time. So that was fine, and we just got on with it. But eventually she decided to make that transition into it, and it's been great, for the kids.
And just to mention, every time I was pregnant, which is quite a few times, I was always vegan throughout my pregnancies, so I couldn't touch any animals. I definitely carrying this vegan babies, definitely, because I couldn't take the smell, couldn't go to markets, nothing, throughout the whole pregnancy and breastfeeding. So it was almost like, well, what's the point?
Yeah, because
the little 9 months in between, like, do you know what I mean? It's like, well, we know where we're going with this.
How did you 2 meet? How did you meet? Who wants to tell the story, Mark or Simone?
Should I tell it?
Go on.
Okay, so I was looking after my grandmother at the time, as you know, Nanny Daisy. Yes, I was that lonely carer in the house. We met on the dating site to begin with, but we met in 2 ways. So we met on the dating site, and then we also met through me trying to find a videographer in Manchester that could document my nan's journey with myself. Yeah, so it was crazy. So it was like, oh, you're the same person. It was crazy. So it was like, well, this is definitely meant to be. Yeah. And so we met up and we made that spiritual connection straight away. I always say we got married when we met. Yeah.
Is that your version as well?
I was like, that was it really. Moving on.
That was good actually, good story. Right, what's next?
We'll do a separate interview.
So we met in Orleans after a couple of bottles of red.
What would you say is your favourite sort of vegan dinner then? Or your favourite dish that you love to make and what the kids enjoy as well?
I think for me, the one that's like when I'm cooking it, I'm like, yes. It's like rice and peas, steamed veg with crackers.
With crackers?
You know the crackers that you soak in the veg?
No.
Steamed veg and crackers.
Yeah, I know.
Never had steamed fish and crackers. You remember?
Yes,
soaked in the juice. That is my favourite. With a few roasters on the side and a nice.
So it's like Jacob's crackers?
No, water crackers.
Water crackers.
Is it?
Yeah.
I have to look that up.
You've had them. You've had them.
You had.
Yeah, okay.
You're just too happy eating it. You don't even know what you're eating.
Yeah.
And I think I liked chickpeas as well. I like a lot of chickpeas. What's your favourite dinner?
You should be good at this, favourite dinner.
I know these like foodies. Like you mention food, their ears prick up and they're like, what? What's your favourite dinner, Kenzie?
Yeah, Kenzie.
Veg.
Veg.
Okay.
That's it.
So when you make your evening snacks, what do you like to use to make your evening snacks? Sprouts. You love your sprouts, don't you? So what we do is we try not to be too precious about the fresh produce. So I'll probably cut half of a Swede, quarter of a butternut squash.
I was like,
what? You're not eating yet. Loves butternut squash. Give them a sweet so we peel the sweet potatoes and whatever I use in the dinner, I keep the skins and they will wash them and use them in their snacks because they make good crisp. They make a good garnish and you crisp them up as well. So
Can we have some now?
so they have so they have that. What do you like to eat? Do you want me to take it?
I think he's alright.
Like potatoes, right?
Yeah.
Sweet potatoes?
Hey.
Jacket.
Jacket
Oh,
potatoes.
jacket
Sit up
potato.
Is that your favourite vegetable? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
A nice filling.
What do you like inside the jacket potato?
Peanut butter.
Peanut butter in it.
Jacket potatoes. Okay, that's a new one. I might try that. I think I'll try it.
They do put peanut butter on Sprites actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't eat
And then
Sprites.
they roast it.
That's the
You'll
only-
eat their Sprites. They're actually
Yeah.
nice. Yeah.
Okay, then you lot might change my mind then.
Yeah.
I like the Sprites.
No.
So what else do you like cooking?
Cakes.
You like cooking cakes? Ooh, what flavour?
Last time I cooked one for my birthday, which was Victoria's.
You know what's funny? The first meal I ever learned to cook, because my cooking journey really exploded when I became vegan. It only really took flight because you learn that because you couldn't eat anywhere, so you had to learn to cook. You know, so the first thing I learned to cook was lentils, red lentils and rice, and that was like my go-to dish. You know, safety. I just used to cook it in batch, keep it in the next day. You know, that was it. I was good. You know what I mean? I knew how to cook that. I was all right. So. But everyone used to take the mickey out of me for that, you know what I mean? Like family, you know, like, oh, here he goes, these lentils. Get some lentils, man, lentils. You know, it's so funny though, but some of those people are now vegan, you know what I mean?
Now you can tease them with the lentils.
So, yeah, okay, you didn't like lentils then. But lentil is one of those amazing things that I discovered because there's so many different types. And it just like that's the thing about just thinking about, you don't even have to be vegan, just thinking about plant-based food. Like there's so much food out there, but if you wouldn't realize it if you know, like when you go out to you know, because it's the same food, it's burgers, it's chips, it's sausage rolls, it's, you know what I mean, but there's so much food. Do you know what I mean? So many different types of food, but you wouldn't know that by going on the high street. Do you know what I mean? And I think that that's what's amazing about being a vegan as well, is through the journey of plant-based food, I'll just say, yeah, just discovering different foods.
Because, you know, there's the next question I wanted to ask both of you. Was, because I did watch a programme that both of you was on, and it was about parents and basically, it was about parents, and it was on Channel 4, and when I seen it, I was like, I was shocked. Truthfully, I was shocked. I was like, is that Simone? But how did you like get onto the show? What was it? Did they come to you? Yeah.
Well, the process of that was we got basically scouted for that show, and I think it was somewhere on Instagram, wasn't it? And they came across our content. And they got in touch with us, a company called Monkey Kingdom, and they said, we're doing this show, we think you guys would be perfect for it. And this is out of the whole country, to be honest. That was what was a great honour, because if you think about the whole country, there was so many people, they did so many advertisements for this show, and there's only 8 families that were going to get into it. So they scouted us and said, you know, we think you guys would be perfect for it. So we went through a series of auditions or kind of meetings, I suppose you'd call it. We got through the next stage, and then eventually they were saying, yeah, well done, you're on the show. And they really liked us.
From the off.
Yeah, they were really keen to get us on the show. But as you can imagine, there were so many different angles that they wanted, because we weren't sure how we were going to be represented, and we were represented as the vegan family, you know what I mean? But there's so many different, there's homeschooling, there's the musical side to these kids, there's so many different sides to our parenting, but they decided to focus on the vegan side, which is fine, because it is us, we are vegan. And it's the show's called Britain's Best Parent, and it was on Channel 4, and it was a great experience. It was good. They treated us really good.
we'd just like to say thank you to the children just now for sitting here with us through the interview, because I know it's hard to sit sometimes with adults and, you know, listen to what they're saying. Serious, innit? You don't want to listen to what we've got to say, innit? So we've got to thank the children so much from the bottom of our hearts, because it is very hard. And I know that's only because of both of you two and how you've had them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we've got to thank you for that.
I think a lot of it is down to diet. You know, obviously, these kids, I think these days kids are being given all kinds of foods, and we try and give them as much natural foods as possible to balance their energy, you know, and I think that that is a massive part of how they behave. But not only that, there's also the homeschooling element of how they're able to be around adults more.
Yeah.
Kids condition themselves to be around adults as well, and that's a big factor. One of the drawbacks of playing with kids your own age is that you act your own age all the time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's nice that they're getting that exposure to adults and how adults behave, and hopefully that they'll mature quicker that way.
Yeah.
We hope that anyway. Yeah.
When you take them to the woods and the forests where we live and you watch them and they just go, they're free. So it's not like they're just trying to be like adults and they don't know how to play, and you know, then they know exactly what to do when the time's right.
I know they know how to play, I can hear
Yeah,
them.
they know how to play.
Yes.
They know how to play.
But you know, it's that being at peace with yourself, not being anxious, just at peace, and that's what, you know, they've been loved, and they've got that love in them, and they've got that natural element, food in their bodies, and you know, there's just a balance there, and I love that about them. Yeah.
And your diet's not just what you eat, is it? It's what you listen to. It's everything. You know, what you watch. And we're not TV fans at all, really, but we do watch the odd thing, and we press play and stop when it's time. You know, it's nothing that's on all the time. You know, we watch things on YouTube, don't we? And they, you know, they like cartoons and things like that, but it's not something that's all the time talk. So they're kind of going off their own love for life and their energy.
Definitely. I just wanted to touch more on, you know, with the home birth. You know, they say that black women are sort of 4 times more likely to, you know, die during pregnancy and stuff like that if they go to a hospital. Was that something in the forefront of your mind? Is that, you know?
Not really, no. I mean, I think you can experience different things with hospitals, and it's down to your experience with your family. You cannot paint the brush of all black women are in danger in hospital. I think that's quite unfair, really, because I would say that sometimes I was ignored because I wasn't. You'll see from the home birth, I'm not a screamer. I'm quite a calm person whilst giving birth. So sometimes if Mark said Simone's ready, they'd be like, yeah, we'll check back in a couple of hours, and then I'd give birth. You know, so you know, they never really understood me. So it's about the personalised care, really, to each individual family, rather than I don't really like that term. They try and pinpoint it as just black women, because it's not. It doesn't discriminate anyone when they don't listen to you. It's everyone. They're not listening to anyone because they don't have the time, the capacity to personalise that care to each individual family. What we did like about home birth is home birth teams come out to you and your house to do all your antenatals, apart from your scans. And you get to know the home birth team midwives, and they get to understand you as a family. And when you are a strong family and you are with a strong foundation within your house, they have no choice but to adhere to your lifestyle and the energy you want in your house. So your birth process will go smoother because of that, because there's a respect for you. So I think it's about exactly. I think it's about taking more of a stance of having more home births. But if you do feel like you want a hospital birth, still stand firm with that as well. You know, still stand firm with your values. If you want to hypnobirth, make sure when the midwives enter, you tell them we are hypnobirthing. Don't mention certain words, because it takes me off that hypnobirthing journey. You know, for example, you shouldn't say pain or contractions when you're hypnobirthing. It's more surges, and this is powerful. It's not painful.
I know you mentioned hypnobirth like
Yeah.
5 times. What is that?
Hypnobirthing is like a spiritual process that you go through when you are giving birth and when you're pregnant. So there are affirmations that you can say to yourselves and to your families to empower you with birth and pregnancy, and to remind you as women, which we don't do enough of, that we are meant to be giving birth. You know, this is what we're here for.
Yeah.
So let's remind ourselves and let's move forward with that power. I mean, we're so quick to congratulate each other when we get a degree. But when we're about to give birth, you'll get women sit down and be like, "Why, you should see when I give birth with him, he got stuck. You know, I'm like, listen, I'm not interested in your horror stories. I'm sorry, I'm not interested. Cut that. Let's share more positive birth stories." And that's another reason why we filmed it as well, to share that positive birth story. Everyone is so quick to tell you their horror stories, so you know, it's just kind of crushing that.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of scaremongering in a lot of different ways at the moment, isn't there? I mean, that's just the latest thing that we're being scared with. But you know, yeah, I wouldn't know about statistics. I don't know how they get those statistics. But I know that every home birth we've had, it's been amazing. Well, the 2 home births that we've had have been amazing, and then the hospital births we've had have been fantastic as well. You know, yes, I think like Simone says, she's very quiet when giving birth, so sometimes they didn't understand that. But is that because she's black, or is that just because she just is different? You know what I mean? Because there's some black women that do scream and holler, you know what I mean? So I just think it's just, I mean, when you're about to have a baby, and when you're dealing with midwives and doctors, you've got to be open as well. You've got to open yourself up, and I think some people, maybe they're not that open, and they're a bit like they've got this barrier, and whether that's put there by your psychology, maybe something happened to you or a family member that makes them scared, or they get passed on these stories that maybe it's not safe. The doctors, they don't understand you, or you know. But I always think that if you open yourself up and you're nice to people and you embrace people, they'll embrace you. You know what I mean? Most of the time, unless it's, you know, you get some people that are just, they're not, they're a bad egg or whatever.
Well, it's called chatting your business, isn't it? It's called chatting your business, and you're told not to do that. So, I mean, you can even cross-reference that with the care side of things, the residential care too. And when you think about how the elderly are treated in care homes, a lot of that is because the families are not opening up enough to say what their individual needs need to be and what they are.
But why do you think that is then? Why are they so closed and not saying what the family member needs?
I think sometimes we fear and we are scared of, and we see people as those are professionals having the authority, and no one is a professional if you're in your body, in your family. You are. So it's just switching it round. You just turn the tables round and be like, well, no, actually, I'm the professional of my body.
That brings it back to school,
It brings it back to school, It brings it back.
The teachers
I
tell you
can't
what to do. Listen to the teacher.
Exactly.
It from there.
Yeah, whereas the teacher is not supposed to put their books down just because they're in the classroom. They're supposed to be reading even more. They're supposed to be learning off every individual child that walks through that door in any term. You know, and not thinking that, oh, that's it now. I've got my degree, this is it, I'm a teacher, and you're going to learn from me. Well, they're kind of repeating everything each year, really, so of course you're going to know what you're doing. But you have to channel that to each individual child and their family, you know. But yeah, you are, and that's not to say those statistics are wrong, or you know, putting anyone down that has made those claims from themselves and their experiences. Everyone's experiences have been different, but ours have been positive because of the way that we've opened up to a system to help embrace us and to help look after us, in essence.
Obviously, you have your plan. You know what you want to do. We knew what we wanted. We wanted to have a home birth, especially the last 2 times. You know, we knew exactly what we wanted. But then you also open up and understand their side. They're just trying to do their job. They're just trying to do the best they can. And it's having that understanding as well. But some people might not be as understanding. They might just be quite, here we go again. But if you do that, then they're going to get defensive, and they might not, treat you the same or embrace you the same way they did before. So it's a bit of give and take, I think, when it comes to that situation.
I think when we have our home births as well, the midwives are always in awe of the way that we're connected, and I think that's really important as well. If your midwife walks through the door, your husband speaks, and you kiss your teeth as long as your feet, and start going on cold with the he got me here. Yeah. This is why I'm reason why I'm and you give off that energy. You're giving them giving them a gap to just get in there and just start dividing you. And I think that happens a lot. I think that happens a lot. They even try and do that within our home sometimes when they come to see us. They try and bypass Mark and not speak to him. They're just looking at me, and I always have this tactic where I don't make eye contact with the midwife. So they look at Mark. I have to speak to Mark. What are you doing? Come on, you're walking into a birth centre here. Like you gotta respect everyone.
Unity, don't you?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So where do you see yourself then in the future, you and the family? Where do you see yourself going towards?
In a caravan on a mountain somewhere, like.
It's so good to be alive.
Waking up to the mountains, just like.
In England.
No. I could see us traveling the world. I could see us going places, being able to take what we do, taking our YouTube channel, traveling, again, taking the whole business and making it mobile so that I'm not tied to this country or tied to a house.
Any other country.
Yeah.
Basically just being free.
Yeah. I think even more so now. Like it's more like we need to like
We're both just coming out now. So
be able to move if we need to. Do you know what I mean? Like you've got to have that ability, and also more of a self-sufficient lifestyle, like where we're growing our own food. Simone's been doing a lot of work in the garden as well. Like she's been starting to grow different vegetables and herbs in our garden. So we already started the process. We want to become more self-sufficient, so we're not so reliant on supermarkets and big companies to control what we do. And that's why the YouTube channel is quite important, because I see that as a way of sustaining ourselves as we go about, and that can be the start of something that could,
If you're on a caravan, you would need a generator. How are you going to get electricity if you don't have that? If you're self-sufficient, self-reliant, you're there, you've got your big land. Are you going to rely on a windmill? Or,
I was looking at windmill prices on the way here.
Oh, was you?
Yeah. I found some actually. On the way here, literally
that's
on the way to
Milton
Milton
Keynes. Think
Keynes.
about, isn't it?
Yeah.
How are you going to generate electricity if you want to be self-reliant? You don't want to rely on.
It's interesting. Yeah, I mean, electricity is like the last bar, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, how are you gonna go that far, like without Wi-Fi? You know what I mean? Like, we couldn't even do YouTube without Wi-Fi, could we? Anyway, so like
there's a Starbucks,
but we could develop something else. But it's good. I think it's good to have a plan B though, like, because if everything does get shut down, you've got a plan B.
What are you going to do? Yeah.
Like, and you can get those generators that, you can put petrol in, can't you?
Yeah, that's right.
Get those ones. So it's good to have a plan B, definitely, because you never know what could happen.
Well, all I can say, I'm getting bite up here. That's why I'm being a bit quiet, because I'm getting bullied over here. I hope you know I'm getting bullied over here. But yeah, anyway, on that note, I've got to say thank you so much to both of you for coming on to the show. Can't thank you enough. Bringing the family as well. It's been good to have all of you. Seriously, even though I've been getting bullied for the last 10 minutes over here.
You're welcome.
But thank you so much. And we hope to have you again soon.
Yes, please
Yeah,
do.
definitely.
We just scratched the surface here, didn't we? Like, so it'd be nice to dive deep.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's planting the seed.
Yeah.
You know, to get people tuned in and get them more interested in what's to come.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
Thank
from me
you.
as well.
So,
And it's so nice to speak about
Thank
your
you.
lifestyle because you just
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Give you a hug when I stand up.
yeah.
I'll come and
You just
I'll come and
realise
shake
yeah.
everyone in a second after the little man lets me go. It's so
If there's
cute.
anything
though.
else you want to sort of, say to the masses, it's yours right now.
Okay. So firstly, I'd like to say thank you to my husband for giving me this lifestyle. Because when you speak about it, you remember what's actually happening and you have to really pinch yourself sometimes. So like getting all emotional. Thank you. Love. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you to my amazing wife. And like I say, when we met, I knew that she had all the qualities that I needed, you know. And I think whenever any man is looking for a wife, you try and look for attributes you want your kids to be raised with. And I think that's the most important thing. I think a lot of people don't understand that. And that's what I found. And I'm a lucky man. I'm really lucky. But if you want to follow us on YouTube, you can follow us as Thankfully True, as one word, and that's our YouTube channel. We're also on major platforms, Facebook, Instagram, as Thankfully True. Photography, videography wise, the website's mrrobertsphotography.co.uk. Music wise, it's Mark Roberts Music on Instagram. And you want to follow Hezekiah?
Don't forget mine, Dad.
Your show. What's your show?
Well at home he is. Look at these.
I know, can't get rid of him.
So,
on that
no,
note,
everyone.
no.
Yeah, definitely from all of us from KapsOff. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
We'll talk to you.
Thank you.
Yeah.